Hello, 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 and welcome to another episode of the We Don't Wanna podcast. We are your hosts. I am Scott, and joining me, as always, he and I just had a real tender moment, which probably means he's about to die. It's Zachary Attackery! How are you doing today, buddy?
Man, if there's anything that's gonna give away your secret or show your hand, it's having a nice tender goodbye.
Yeah, let's have a very pleasant, like emotionally weighty conversation, and talk about how nothing bad will ever happen to us ever, and we're gonna, be just happy ever after,
Yep.
and only
Sounds
good
about
things.
right.
Only good things. The MO of the world of Ice and Fire. I love it. I love it so much. We are here to talk about House of the Dragon, the season 1 finale, episode 10, The Black Queen. Which is what was was it like the Green Queen? Was that the name of last week's episode? Something about green.
No, it was the Green Council.
The Green Council, right. Okay,
Yeah.
that's what it was.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, like just by the titles and kind of the way the episodes were set up.
Titles.
We love our titles around here.
Yeah.
Very kind of the opposite side of the coin for this episode from last episode.
Yeah, this is kind of, I feel like, what people were expecting last week.
Right, sure.
And I kind of feel like this made for a better season finale. I'm glad that they did.
I'm glad they did it the order they did it in.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
I agree. And I think also, viewed week to week, people may have had issues with it, and maybe if they had like edited the two episodes together and had them, kind of progress more as like a linear timeline versus everything in King's Landing and then everything on Dragonstone.
Right.
I just don't know if it would have been as effective, honestly, and I'm kind of glad they did it this way. And like on rewatch, like in binge mode, like I think it might be even better. So I was here for the way the episodes were formatted.
I can definitely see that. Yeah, we've got a lot to talk about, man.
Definitely.
It's definitely a big episode. Big episode. Big like Vagar big.
There are many big things in this episode.
Yeah. More so in the episode, not here in person though.
Definitely. Definitely no big dragons around here, I can tell you that. I can tell you that for sure. Zach, I wanna, before we jump in, what's your overall vibe on the episode, this episode specifically? We'll talk more season thoughts at the end, but this episode.
Yeah. Overall, I thought it was a good episode. However, I didn't start feeling like it was a good episode until like 20 minutes in. The beginning of the episode felt a little strange.
Yeah. I agree, but I think for me it might have taken even longer than 20 minutes. I don't know exactly the time. I can
tell you exactly when.
Okay, I was not.
Oh.
Well, I was just going to finish the thought. I was not on board with like a lot of what was happening. I just kind of thought it was meaningless and kind of pointless, meandering there for a while.
Sure.
And then it was like it kicked it into high gear towards the end. What was the scene where it changed for you?
For me, it was when we get the map room scene. Like once the map lights up, we see
the painted table be looking cool as hell, by the way.
It really does. Looks so cool, man. And the battle preparation talk, like the, are we gonna get the Starks, the Aarons, and so on and so forth. That is when I was like, okay, I'm in this.
See, there were even parts during that section where I wasn't fully on board. I think maybe for me, thinking about it, where it switched was when Lord Corliss woke up.
Okay.
Because until that point, I was just kind of like a little confused. They like tried to play this weird angle where like it almost seemed for a minute like Damon was gonna try and claim power for himself.
I never felt that, but I hated the Damon. Well, okay, so you know what? It turned on for me during the map room scene. But then it turned back on. You know what? Okay, you're right. It was a little up and down. I feel like for the first half of the episode,
yes,
probably.
Agreed. There's a lot of stuff I don't know what the point of it was, and I feel like that's kind of true of last episode as well. Like we talked a little bit about it last week. Like there was a bit of meandering in the beginning. Yeah, more the middle-ish probably of the episode where it's like almost like they're stalling for time and none of it really mattered. Like obviously we made a lot of jokes about the whole white worm scenario.
Right.
That just seemed to be utterly pointless. And I feel like there were moments in this where for example, like is it Jace the older one, right?
Yeah.
Jace comes in and like has this like standoff with Damon that I'm like, what was the point of this? What was
that for?
What was that for? What are we doing here? Is Damon trying to seize power? But then no, he like gives the crown to Rhaenyra and everything. They seem like hunky dory. Yeah. But then later again, there's totally not. There were definitely elements of this episode I did not love.
Yeah.
It got hype and cool towards the end, but yeah, it's certainly not a perfect episode for me.
Definitely not. Yeah. Overall, still like it. Overall, extremely excited about this season. Overall, thinking, fuck, that was a whole lot of fun.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
But when we start to actually pay attention to the little things in the episode, there's a little things that felt a little strange and off.
Yeah.
So let's jump into it, man.
Sure.
Let's talk about it here. So right off the bat, I'm like, okay, I can't figure Rhaenys out now.
Yeah, for real. Like there was so much where like everyone else is bowing and she's just standing there like,
and she's just like,
I'm not about that. Yeah, like she's like, I'm too cool for school. Like I ain't kneeling. I'm not bowing my head when everyone walks in. Like nah, I'm the baddest. Really... I'm the baddest bitch in this room, and no one can tell me differently. And I'm kind of here for that.
Yeah.
Cause she is cool as hell.
What really sent my ass though, dude, like into the nth dimension, I wanted to fucking bust out laughing. And I'm getting way ahead, but it has to do with Rhaenys. But it was when Rhaenyra and Daemon have their disagreement, and Rhaenyra's like, clear the room, and everybody's leaving, and then you just see Rhaenys in the back, like,
yeah.
Dude,
I'm a big fan of Rhaenys. I'm a big fan of everything she does, her armor, her dragon. I'm a big fan of, I think a lot of people were like, oh, why didn't she just burn them all to a crisp and blah, blah. And we kind of talked about that last week where it was like, that would be an overly like cruel or like, just not a good way to take power in the realm type situation. So, and she effectively says the same thing. It's like it was not my place to start this war, and I appreciated that.
Definitely. And I also, you know what, before we really kind of start going through this episode, I want to talk about that for a second because we talk about these episodes. I mean, we just finished watching.
All right.
For those of you guys who don't know, we just finished watching the episode. Mm-hmm. We hopped on. And so obviously after a week of processing, a week of seeing things on social media, seeing people's takes and
talking
and things
to
like that.
friends.
I have to admit myself a little frustrated that so many people are up in arms about what you just said about Rhaenys not just burning them to the
Yeah.
like either these people are casuals who just don't like the greens.
Those filthy casuals.
Well, yeah, so like the
Zach
thing is,
hates the casual.
yeah, fuck the casuals. They're casuals who just either just they watch the show for the reason of like oh, like Team Edward, Team Jacob, Team Greens,
Sure,
Team
sure.
Blacks, you
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah.
they're just so like bought into like the I guess the picking a side
Choosing
type
sides.
thing.
Yeah.
And they know that this is going to be a war. They know that's coming because obviously they're watching the show.
Right.
And they're just like, she could have ended it all. She should have done that. That was stupid. And then I've also seen a couple points. I saw somebody make a take that said that her having the opportunity to even do that was bad storytelling. Because there should never be a situation in storytelling where somebody could just end the war before it even begins.
I could not disagree more.
I have to, yeah, and I'm just like, I don't agree with that even a little bit because, like, everybody's trying to come up with all these fucking reasons of like, well, it's because she has a bond with Alicent because they're mothers, because they're women, because X, Y, or Z, and it's like, at the end of the day, like, Rhaenys is still a human being.
Yeah.
And like standing there, like sitting there on Dragonback, looking at these people who many of them are innocent.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Alicent is complicit, but I don't think that I mean, at least you and I, Scott, don't think that she's like evil. You know what I mean? She's just complicit in this whole thing. She just is just not there to kill people. Like that is not her goal. You know, that's
whatever the reason you want to ascribe to Rhaenys for not doing it, like I don't think that's like the point. I think, her choosing not to do it is just interesting in and of itself, and whatever reason she has, and whether we explore them deeper or you want to kind of interpret your own reasons, fill in the blanks yourself, I think is fine. But having the metaphorical gun pointed to someone's head and choosing not to pull the trigger can be just as interesting story-wise as choosing to pull the trigger. So right. I just don't get that viewpoint.
Yeah,
at all.
I agree. Cool. Well, I'm glad that we're both on the same page of that, because I was just like, I was ready to fucking go to war on Twitter.
Well, and that's I think her saying that is almost a direct response to that, where she's just like, it's not my place to start this war. Like, I am not the queen, or the queen in waiting, or anything like that. And also
at that point, it's also I feel like from this episode, we're gonna talk about this a little bit, but like, there is a very like, I don't think I would say reluctance, but this is really shitty, but I think she understands and has kind of just accepted the way that this world works. Mm-hmm. And she understands that House Velaryon, like like she's going to resort to what Corlys decides to do with House Velaryon.
Ultimately, he is the Lord. He is in charge.
Yes. And so that's why she doesn't pledge anything until he gets there. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we see that play out. But I there's just a big part of it that she's like, just like you said, just like she said, it's not really her place. And it's like, I don't know. Like, I'm totally fine with it. I think that it makes Rhaenys a more interesting character. Mm-hmm. I still want more of her still on her team.
For sure.
Yeah. Anyway.
Definitely.
So yeah, there was definitely a lot of fluff in the beginning of this episode, right?
A lot of stuff I'm just like not really interesting or noteworthy to talk about even, I feel like.
And also, like, how many
I know what you're gonna say already.
How many like just really terrible, hard
They-
to watch birth scenes are we going to get in this show, man?
They really want you to understand how fucked up childbirth is
Medieval
in this.
childbirth.
Yeah,
I mean,
medieval
all
childbirth.
is-
Well,
but
yeah,
especially
but especially without access to modern medicine. And yeah, maybe the fact that even the Targaryens, like, for whatever reason, well, probably incest is probably the reason, have it worse than most.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are dead set on that being a theme, and I'm like, I'm fine if you want to have that as like a theme of your show and like, you know, have it be relevant story wise. Don't need to see so much graphically and just like, it's just really difficult to watch scenes that just make
Right.
me grossed out and uncomfortable.
Right,
And I understand that's like, oh, you know, that's a woman's, you know, pain
Yeah,
and
I mean,
childbirth
there-
and thing. It's
there
just like, I just don't want to see it.
There absolutely is a side of this that is like, you know, this is the horror, this is the real life thing that like women out there deal with every single day, which
Mhm.
understandable, totally respect that. And I actually don't think that the scenes are bad or in any way.
No.
It is an uncomfortable watching
Yeah.
experience, you know. And if that's the goal, then mission accomplished. You know,
Truly.
we've said this several times about any form of entertainment. If it invokes an emotional response, they're doing
Mhm.
something right.
It's true.
You know, so for sure. It's just it's a little tough to watch. It's like, yikes, man, this is really painful and shitty and
Yeah.
sad to see and bloody.
Yeah. Just
So.
pretty gross, but yeah. Anyway.
Were you okay? So during the episode, I feel like I was a little taken aback or just maybe confused with Rhaenys, like not kneeling in that shot, right? Like when she gets the crown, and then like now you and I talking about it, and now like in hindsight, I'm like, okay, well, it's because it's not her place to pledge to whatever.
Yeah,
in-
no,
'cause she represents the house.
I was pretty fine and on board with her motivations. Damon is the one who confused me the most this episode.
Yeah.
He just seemed kind of unhinged in a way we haven't seen him in a while. Like,
Yeah, this was very elements of episode 1 and 2, Damon.
right. Like, you know, we talked about how like getting married to, was it Lena? Lena having a couple kids, settling down in Pentos for a while, had like seemingly mellowed him out a bit. He had matured. And I mean, there were certainly like elements of the old Damon there. Like every time, you know, that's a big joke and meme. Every time Alicent walks in the room, he just like fucking rolls his eyes and, you know, gets all like,
right,
whatever. But he had certainly become less of an absolute wild card. And then in this episode, he's just like back to his old tricks of being an absolute unhinged weirdo, like hating his brother again all of a sudden out of nowhere.
Right.
It's just like I was confused by his thoughts and process and motivations a lot through this episode.
You know, I think like I feel like this is partially a product of him being like drugged back into, you know, I guess into the mix. You know, like he was out doing his own thing with Lena and was like, yo, I'm living the life.
Right,
I got
right.
a hot ass wife, got great kids. You know, and now he's in a spot where he is remembering his position, now his wife's position, and all the things that frustrated him about Viserys, which I do think is just such an enormous like flip from what we've seen before, and I don't think it worked really great character wise. I thought it was a little strange, a little rocky.
I agree.
The tough thing about that though is that like I know that all those things and all those feelings and frustrations are there from Daemon because we've seen it before. It's just kind of flowing in a way that like it's like, oh, we're back here.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Like I'm totally fine with him like being gung ho for like protecting what he feels like is his wife's right, and like, hey, we need to get ready for war. We need to rally houses. Like all that is like perfectly understandable and like, like makes sense. It's when he's like suddenly like trying to like go against what his wife wants, or like choking her, or like getting mad because he doesn't know what dream she's talking about. He was just like, I don't know what his deal was this episode. Truly.
Yeah, it was a little frustrating.
Yeah.
And I didn't enjoy it. There was truly only the one line where he meets Otto on the bridge that I was like, haha, cool. I like
Oh,
shitty,
yeah,
snarky,
yeah.
like dickhead Damon again, the drunken usurper cunt or whatever
Yeah,
you called him. But then immediately after, I know we're skipping a lot of things, and I'm sorry, but
The early parts of this episode, I don't even really care
yeah,
about talking.
He immediately after he like pulls his sword out and is just like basically like, to hell with it, like, I'm just gonna kill you now.
Right.
Which also, like, it just seemed a bit rash.
Nah, that seems like a Damon move. Like that move I buy.
Well, that seems like an episode 2. Well, no, I guess, maybe you're right. Maybe
that's way more of a Damon move. It's
thought,
like,
you know what it was? His dialogue, dude. Like the things that he was saying, I was like, you're just being corny right now, dude. You're being fucking goofy.
It's the parts of this episode where he was like, not against, but like losing his cool with the members of his own household that I was just like, what's your deal here, bro? Like him getting mad at Otto is nothing new.
Well, no, okay, no, I get what you're saying, but like, just, I don't know. Maybe I'm just like way too focused on that. He just seemed way more of a loose cannon. He seemed just like episode 1 or 2, which
I mean definitely, yeah, sure.
So I just thought it was a little strange, but okay. So a couple things I do want to talk about.
Sure.
The map. Okay, we mentioned it already, but this scene,
it's so cool, man.
It is like, even just like them, like, was it like a molten something they're putting? Was it just lighting a fire?
I think it was just candles and fire and whatever,
like,
that made it glow
just
like
even
that.
The process that they showed, like the close up,
yeah.
Just high focus, like, of them doing like their job to do that, and then seeing it like light up. Oh.
Just the very close like shots, even before they lit it up, like of the painted table, were just like super cool, and just like I love seeing that kind of thing.
Yes.
I need one of those in my house. I think I need a giant.
I want to get. Do you remember those giant teak wood pieces of furniture that we had?
Yeah.
I want one of those with like all of the fucking carving,
the Westeros stuff. Yeah, that would be sick.
That'd be so cool.
Yeah, painted table, rad as hell. Again, cannot praise like the set design and the way the show looks. Like there's several shots we can talk about later that were truly stunning in this episode.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about a castle that I've wanted to see for a very long time.
Okay, that's one we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Oh, fuck you, Scott.
Yeah, we'll talk about it. What else did you want to say aside from the painted table?
Okay, so other than the actual painted table, the actual map room scene, I truly really enjoyed. We've been talking for episodes now where we are like, when's the Veil gonna get into the mix? When are like we gonna have like the political side from the Blacks, because we haven't seen any of that.
Right.
Trying to secure alliances, and they mentioned Cregan Stark or whatever his name, Cregan, I think.
Yeah.
Which he's the guy that we got a very short glimpse of earlier in the season, right? He must be, right? That would have been the only person to swear,
I guess.
Oh,
yes,
you know what?
maybe?
Actually, no. I think I'm wrong. Because Rhaenyra told something to Jace, saying something about Cregan is closer to your age than mine.
Yeah, he's young. It was like So his father, they said his father would have sworn the oath to Rhaenyra.
Gotcha.
So
Okay,
the Stark who was in episode 1, was that the end of episode 1?
It may have been, yeah.
That swore the oath to Rhaenyra is apparently dead, and his son is now ruling, I guess.
Gotcha. Okay.
In Winterfell.
Anyway, that shit excites me, man. I'm very excited for that, and also just like hearing the need for alliances. I'm just like, it's so much fun.
Stuff.
Just reminds me of like playing the Game of Thrones board game.
Yeah.
Fuck,
Definitely.
Man, it's such
a
fun time. I did like that we get a Daemon and Otto meeting on the bridge again. I liked that.
I liked that parallel big time to episode 2.
Didn't look nearly as stunning, but it was still.
No,
still
it didn't. Was it like the lighting or something different going on? I don't know. It did not look as cool.
There was definitely a cool lighting thing happening in the last one, and the bridge thing that they were on looked much smaller this time.
I'm assuming they shot it on the same exact.
I mean, it must be like an angle thing or like a camera trick thing, but like what I'm saying is like this bridge in episode 2 looked massive, like just like big.
Maybe it's
like
because
a big shot.
Yeah, maybe it's because we've already seen it and it wasn't like as surprising or
it's like when you visit your old elementary school and you're like, oh, this place is small.
Yeah,
now.
Exactly. Something like that. Still a cool scene. I appreciate that they brought that like parallel back for sure.
Yeah. Anything specific about that scene that you wanted to call out?
No, I don't think so. Whatever the line was that you called that earlier, I don't take any notes for this or anything like that. It was real funny about like, something about like traitorous guns or something like that. It's like, all right, David, yeah, you're still all right sometimes.
Yeah.
You're still cool.
Okay, so there was a line. We get back into like more like preparation, like talk. And actually, hold on. This is when Corlys comes back, right?
I don't know. Yeah, sure. Yeah, probably around.
It's around this time.
Around then, I don't remember the exact timeline, but
I was very like, how much time has passed here? Because Corlys wasn't in Dragonstone. He was on his way.
Yeah. I mean, listen, time passes. What do you want?
I know. I'm not gonna be one of those people.
Yeah.
One of those casuals.
One of those filthy casuals.
But what I mean is like everything we're seeing from like Rhaenyra and Daemon, like all these scenes, seem very like knee-jerk, like reactionary, like it's all happening very fast, and then we cut to that, and it's like, okay, well, like weeks or months had to have passed between that. It just felt strange.
Yeah,
is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I wasn't too upset about it, but
okay. Well, fuck me then. Anyway, any thoughts on Corlys being back other than we told you?
We told you so. Yeah, obviously, if we didn't see him die, there's no way Corlys was going to be gone for forever. That's just the rule. I like how he didn't make like a big fuss over his brother Vaemond. He kind of just had this attitude of like, yeah, that was a dumb move.
He was kind of a dipshit.
Shouldn't have ought to done that. And I also appreciate Rhaenys calling his ass out, being like, you fucking left me when I needed you, like, you dick.
Yes.
And then them, kind of just.
And also, the decision to back the Blacks,
kind
of came from Rhaenys.
Seems like it, yeah.
Which is, as we're talking about this more and more, is making me kind of appreciate her position more, because she was playing it very safe, being very reserved the first part of this episode.
She wasn't full commit mode yet.
At least outward.
Right, correct.
She wasn't outwardly full commit. And
well, she may have even been like having an internal like decision and struggle on her own too.
Sure. Yeah, I guess like she's obviously weighing a lot.
Right, correct.
During this period, and finally she has this conversation with Corlys, and I think it just kind of became a little more apparent to her.
Yes.
Like,
because Corliss's big plan is let's retire by the seaside and sit on
Yeah.
our porch at rockers and
yeah, dude.
have sweet tea and
Yeah.
watch our grandkids grow up. And Rainey's is just like, dude, they're gonna kill the shit out
They're
of
gonna
our
go to
grandchildren.
They're gonna go to Margaritaville.
They're gonna go to Margaritaville, play bingo on Wednesdays. Yeah,
They're gonna get a
and
nasty suntan, get off, and start smoking.
big time smoking. They're big into
Cracked ass
hookah.
skin.
They're big into hookah on
Into the hookah.
on Driftmark.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, that's Corliss. Corliss is just like, yo, I just fought for like 6 years in the Stepstones or whatever it was. It's like I just want to take a break. And she's like, bitch, they will kill the shit out of us and our grandchildren. Like, what the hell do you think this is?
And Corliss is like, you know what?
You right.
You're right.
You're right. So I totally get everything there, made sense. I like the motivations. I appreciate kind of the decisions that they made and how they kind of came to them, together, I guess. Like, she kind of helped him see the light, I guess you could say, or see the correct path. So yeah, I was here for that stuff for sure.
So it's coming back to me now. We did do that slightly out of order. Doesn't matter. I want to go back to there was one scene where they were talking around the map, of course. And Rhaenyra says, "I do not wish to rule over a kingdom of ash and bones."
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is a very not Daenerys character.
True.
And I'm here for it.
Big true.
Yeah.
Daenerys is like, King of the Ashes, baby. Yeah. I guess that's like the whole root of supposed to be the root of the conflict between like her and Daemon, is like Daemon's like, it's fucking war, bro. And she's like, nah, not so much. But it's just, that's whole seemed a little, I still don't buy that. I still don't buy that motivation.
You don't buy her motivation?
No, I don't buy the way Daemon acted this episode.
Okay, yeah, I agree with that completely. I do think that, like, okay, so from a writing and direction standpoint, I think that this is meant to mirror the internal struggles that we see with the High Towers in last episode.
The Green Council.
The breaking of the news, and they're having an internal issue while also moving towards the same goal.
Right.
And, so that is going to be paralleled here with the Blacks. Which I think is fine. It was not executed well.
Correct. Agreed.
I want to give Rhaenyra praise here. I really, really liked her performances in this episode.
I agree. Yeah.
I don't think we've ever actually called her out like the adult version of Rhaenyra.
Emma Darcy.
Emma Darcy. She did fantastic in this episode, man. I agree. I like her performance
a lot, but I completely agree with you. The internal strife that they like tried to parallel worked way better on the Hightower side and made way more sense, and has been set up from very early on with like Otto kind of forcing his daughter to become the queen, more or less,
right.
And that internal strife made way more sense and was executed way better than this side was. And I think you're exactly right. I think that's what they were going for, was like the kind of the correlation there, but it just the didn't
correlation
work. Okay, that's not bad. I like that. I like that. That's not bad. Yeah.
So there's this she's walking this very respectable, in my opinion, very respectable kind of like line where she says it in the episode, like, if we act too brashly, like, are we going to be ruling over a broken nation? Right. Are we going to be the rulers of King's Landing and nobody else is going to think that we're, like, she's just actually using her head, which kudos to her. We have not seen a whole lot of that from Rhaenyra.
True.
So
Damon's like, burn, baby, burn. We got dragons. Let's use them. And she's like, let's pump the brakes there.
Yeah.
I think she says verbatim at some point, like, I will not be the one to start a war, basically.
Yeah. I won't strike the first blow.
But now, moving into the end of the episode, I think she might reconsider her position.
Well, so it's during this conversation that Damon gets pissed off. He says something. He goes, "But mom," and fucking gets really mad. And Rhaenyra's like, "Everybody out.
Yeah,
I'm gonna talk to this little bitch boy for a second."
Because he's being.
And then Rhaenys is like,
"Yeah, that face was really good."
Jokes aside, though, we see this a couple times between her and Daemon, and also we see it in a future scene with Rhaenyra and Corlys, where Rhaenys continues to give her these kind of like nods of approval, and these like she's almost like admiring her in a way of like, you know, rising up to what she needs to be. There's obviously a ton of respect there for her because Rhaenys is very much a fuck the patriarchy person, which fuck the patriarchy. Like she's killing it. Rhaenys is great, and she's like, yo, this is my girl. Like she is the epitome of fuck the patriarchy, you know. And she's also keeping a cooler head and going about this better than the men in the room.
Yes. She approves, seemingly.
Yes. So big fan of that.
But I think that was why for a big section of this episode she was in like wait and see mode. Like she wanted to judge and weigh how Rhaenyra would react to these things.
Hey, also, if you hear a lot of background, anybody listening or watching, the Astros game is on right now.
Yeah.
And Amanda's watching it on her headphones over there, so she might let out like a because she's a very audible baseball watcher.
Zach is very kind to lend us his time while Game 4 is of the ALCS is happening.
Yeah, Astros just took the lead, so I'm in
sick. Good stuff.
Anyway, okay, so moving on. We get the scene where Corlys walks into the map room. Like this quite a bit as well. Corlys comes in and he's kind of like I don't really love Corlys, but he's just like he kind of like he walks and talks like this dude swings a really big dick,
he really was like trying to own the room. And I was like, dude, this is like the queen is in here, bro. Like you don't.
And he called her princess a couple times.
Did it? Yeah, you're right. He did.
You like, all right, my
this
guy.
Motherfucker.
And he says something. She's like the Baratheons and the Starks pledged, like swore oaths to me. And he was like, so did the High Towers.
So did the High Towers. Yeah.
And she goes, so did you.
Yeah.
And he's just like,
yeah. Good comeback, by the way.
You right?
Yeah.
So yeah, she kind of checked him on that, and we get one of those great cuts to Rhaenys kind of being like, yeah, that's kind of my girl right there. Like, she's kind of a badass.
Yeah.
So I did like that interaction quite a bit. And then we get the kind of final thing. Again, I'm really loving this mostly because of Rhaenys, but then they develop these plans, right, to go recruit the Starks, to recruit the Baratheons.
And the Aarons.
And they also need help patrolling, right? Patrolling the island. Also, really big news, warfare, political and warfare news from Corlys is that he has fully secured the Stepstones.
Right.
And with them being on Dragonstone, they can basically cut off all like shipping channels to King's Landing, which is a really big development. So good on them. And I love the part when Rhaenys is like, hey, I'll hop on Dragonback on Millie's and fucking go do your shit for you because like you're my girl now. And I'm like,
also because I'm cool as hell, my dragon.
Yeah, also because I'm cool as hell.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is also the same. A lot happens in this, and I'm sorry we're staying here for so long. But this is also where Jace is like, yo, dragons are faster than ravens. Send us.
Right.
They're also more intimidating, which true.
True.
Very true. And so this is kind of Great idea, my guy, Jace.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah,
fucking
good
idea,
call.
my guy.
Good call, bud.
Good call.
Hey, listen,
let's hope
hindsight's
he doesn't come back
20/20,
at
all
the-
right?
Right, I know. But I mean, no, honestly, good thoughts.
Seemed like a good idea at the time, I suppose.
Should they have maybe sent like Rhaenys to do that instead?
Should they have maybe sent like a couple dragon riders? Because they do have a couple. They've got like 13. Doesn't Damon say at one point?
I paused and I was like, should I take all these notes?
Nah,
no.
Fuck
what
no.
are we, a fucking podcast?
Yeah, what are we, a
podcast
about House of the Dragon?
Nah,
What a
fuck
load
no.
of bullshit.
Yeah. So yeah, I like that Jay stepped up to be sent north.
Good old Jay Strong.
But then we get this goodbye scene where she's like, "You guys have to promise not to fight." And I looked at Amanda, dude, and I was like, I have a sneaking suspicion that one of these children are going to die. Yeah, I'm pretty certain one of these fucking kids is toast. I did not think it would have happened this episode.
I also knew which one it was, personally, judging by the earlier scene in the episode.
Oh.
Well, the goodbye, but also the fact that one of them had a big moment earlier in the episode where he's like, I can't be Lord of the Tides, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, this kid is so
This
dead
kid is
meat.
toast, dude.
This kid is roasty toasty.
Bro, poor guy.
Yeah.
I liked him.
He's all right.
What's his name? Luke?
Luke's Dragon Walker over here.
Yeah, his goodbye to his mother was too emotional. They even had the close-up shot of the hands holding each other.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, Amanda, he's dead.
He's
so dead.
Yeah. I liked his little I won't let you down, mother, or your grace. I was like, oh, that's kind of
He's so sweet,
like,
dude. He is a really nice kid. I like him.
Yeah.
R.I.P. my guy.
What happened to him? Spoilers.
Anything in the interim there that happens, or does it just kind of cut?
I think it cuts. There's the Damon scene, which I'm sure this will be important later. But I do want to call this out because the wide shot from behind Damon, where it's like breathing fire up,
dude,
looked sick as hell.
Beautiful.
That was my second favorite shot of the episode. Like, that looked unbelievable. He's already got a dragon. I don't know if he's planning on betraying his long boy, or like what the point of, like, this dragon seems big and nasty. Like, I'm assuming this is one of the wild dragons he was referring to.
Do we ever know what happened
to the third?
Oh, no. Hold on. They said earlier in the season that Vhagar was the only of the three.
Right, of the three original.
Still, okay, then never mind. I'm sorry.
I'm pretty sure they did. I feel confident they did. We know.
I'm pretty sure they did.
We know Balerion is dead. We've seen his
sure.
skull. Vhagar is obviously still kicking, and I feel like for sure they said the other one was dead. But this one seems like an older, meaner, nastier one. So I think he might. Don't betray my favorite long boy is all I'm saying. I don't.
Definitely.
I'm sure this will be important later. I don't know what it means right now, but that was what happened in between.
Right. Yeah. So, that, you said it's your second favorite shot of the episode. That might have been my favorite shot of the entire season.
It was real good, and I thought it would for sure be the one I was talking about. But there's one more we'll get to in a minute. That I think trumped it. What did not live up to my expectations, which I think this is where we're going to differ, is that is not really how I viewed and envisioned Storm's End, or how it's described. I don't think it's way more of a tower than it should be.
Yeah,
if I remember,
it is supposed to be just a
flat drum almost.
Yeah, that's a good way of describing it. Yeah.
Yeah, more like a disc, like a literal
chode.
drum shape. Yes, more chode like. This was a regal,
more girth, not as much length.
A full on hard, 9-incher. So it looked cool. Don't get me wrong. Like everything looks good in this show.
Yeah.
It's just I don't think it was quite the way it was described. I'm not a World of Ice and Fire expert, but I always envisioned it more as like a stubby drum shape.
Well, no, yeah, because it had to be low because of the winds there. That's why it's
right. It's Storm's
End. It's a rounded
End.
castle.
Yeah. The round is right. I mean, the tower was round, but it shouldn't be. It would be weaker being that tall. Like the whole thing was that Storm's End was built to withstand the savage storms of Shipbreaker Bay, and so like that doesn't seem like a very durable. Listen, I'm not a castle expert.
Over here,
I'm not a goddamn stonemason. But yeah, I always it was always described as more of a flatter, wider, sturdier drum shape than like a full on.
That's what I tell the ladies, man.
Yeah. She's stouter where it counts, my lady. Yeah, big time. But okay. Here's what I want to say. I wanna put something out there.
Are you about to tell me that you think that Storm's End essentially kicked off the next Jurassic Park franchise?
What?
Yeah, dude, that shot of Vagar lifting his head with the thunder
behind.
It's
that was sick.
That is just a fucking Godzilla.
That was real Godzilla champ moment. No. I want to put all you fucking almond milk lovers out there on full blast. I feel vindicated once again because for weeks I've been saying, I don't know, you guys are just being taken in by the eye patch. This creepy serial killer looking motherfucker, like, it seems like kind of a bitch to me. And you guys are like, nah, he's so cool. Team Amond. Yeah, go almond milk. Yeah. What a total bitch.
Explain?
My dude. So Luke rolls in there and Big Man Almond Milk wants to suddenly pick a fight with a 10-year-old. And he's like, nah, I'm not gonna kill you. That would be too easy. Just give me your eye. And Baratheon, who was being a dick to Luke earlier, but to his credit, is like, no, not under my roof. Fuck you, fuck this. Don't do that. Get this kid out of here.
Yeah.
So then Almond Milk is like, that's not good enough for me. I showed you my cool jewel eye. Now I have to, like, show what a big, tough guy I am. Go ride my dragon. Oh, oopsie. I don't know how to control my dragon because I am a bitch boy. And I accidentally killed you. Ugh, fuck. Well, I didn't exactly mean to do that. I was just trying to scare the kid. Whoopsie daisy. I can't even control my dragon because I am a giant bitch boy. Fuck Almond Milk. That's what I have to say. Fuck Almond Milk. You guys got taken in by his cool eye patch, and that's it. He did nothing to earn any respect, and you guys were like, Team Almond Milk, yeah. Woo!
I still like him, man.
I
still
would.
think he's such a fucking
fucking would. Correct me if I'm wrong. He is a giant bitch here.
I mean, you're not wrong in saying that he can't control Vagar, like, in a battle situation.
And also wants to prove what a big, tough man he is by picking a fight with a 10-year-old who's got, like a little tiny baby boy dragon. This is a Fisher Price dragon versus a fucking nuclear missile option dragon. And he's like, I have to prove what a tough man I am by picking a fight with you. Oh shit, I accidentally crushed your toy, your little Fisher Price. And now I get what you're saying,
and I don't disagree with it. Like I do think that does kind of suck. Not a good look for Aemond, at all.
Terrible look from your guy.
I don't know. I'm sold. Maybe it's because it is.
It's only because of the actor.
I mean, but he does have an eye patch, and he
Oh
has a
my
fucking
God.
sapphire in there, dude. That's so cool.
Oh my God, you're so lame. You're so lame.
It's so cool, dude.
It's not. It's cooler with the eye patch. The sapphire
it's
eye
cool
does nothing
both
for
ways.
me. He's like wannabe White Walker over here.
Maybe he is the White Walker. No.
Maybe he is the Night King. Yeah.
I actually saw an article header that said, "Is so and so the Night King? Is Aemon Targaryen the Night King?" And I was like,
Shut the hell up. That
Yeah.
didn't. Oh my God.
yeah, no, I saw this and I was like, dude, people are just needing some clicks.
They need
man.
some
That is
clicks, bro.
terrible.
Yeah.
What?
What I obviously vented about that scene for a minute. How did you react to this, and what did you think about it?
So, I mean, I was pretty bought into the emotional side of this entire scene.
Oh, sure.
I was like into the intensity and the emotion.
Very
and,
intense.
Like, there wasn't really anything that like took me out. I really, really liked. You see the adolescence in his interaction with what was his name? Not Boris, is it?
I think it was Boris.
Is it Boris Baratheon?
I think it was, yeah.
Whatever the Lord of House Baratheon is, whoever
Lord
he is.
Baratheon.
And also, I gave a lot of credit to Rhaenyra, but she just sent them without giving like his point was very true. Like,
yeah. What's in it for me, bro?
What's in it for me?
What's in it for me?
And he's like, okay, I'll go tell my mom.
I already got a fiance. It's like my half sister, so it's just kind of how we Targaryens roll. You know what I'm saying? So I can't help you there, bud.
So funny.
But
dude.
yes, despite all my incoherent rambling and ranting, like I liked this scene like a lot. Like, fuck almond milk, he's a bitch. But there was genuine tension, and this whole sequence was very well done. I want that to be known.
Yeah, dude. When we see them, like when it cuts back to Luke flying into Storm's End.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, like we're gonna see.
Oh shit!
Now.
This is happening now.
Like it's gonna happen now. Because like I was just like, oh my god, dude, R.I.P. my fucking little dude. Like he's definitely gonna die now. And then it cuts to him flying in and like getting there, and I was like, is this gonna happen?
The only thing I was like, I don't know if it'll happen this season. Like, you know, I don't check and see how much time is left in the episode, or like I have a bad sense of keeping track of it. So I was like, I almost thought the episode for a moment was gonna end with them flying off, and I was like, surely there's maybe more. That doesn't seem like a very like big finale cliffhanger type thing. And then as soon as it shows him like flying into Storm's End, I was like, oh shit, like hell yeah, let's go. This is going down now. And then the amazing shot of Vhagar like raising its head in the rain and like the lightning and the storm. I was like, oh fuck, hell yeah. That was good stuff.
Yeah. That was pretty
but
good.
The shot I was talking about was when he leaves and he's flying through the storm, like it's storming hard now, rain, lightning, everything, and you just barely see the silhouette through the clouds of Vhagar directly above him. It's like an underneath shot.
Yeah, and you see how giant
you
Vhagar
see
is.
Like literally it's so like it just puts it into very stark contrast of him on his little Fisher Price ass dragon versus this enormous fucking 747 ass dragon. And like that shot was like unbelievable because like they didn't overdo it. They didn't overplay their hand. Like if you blinked, you might have almost missed it because it was very subtle, the silhouette, but it was like legitimately terrifying. Like that was a shot that like I feel like that was a horror ass shot, which like I mean obviously this isn't a horror show, so it wouldn't get much of like that. Like that shot like startled me almost and it was terrifying.
Right. So were you definitely thought that Aemond was gonna go chase him?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, I mean, he gets out into the courtyard and he notices like Vagar is gone, which I don't know how he teleported.
How the fuck he teleported?
How the fuck did Almond Milk teleport out? You know, maybe I'm not giving him enough credit. The dude can obviously teleport, so yeah, he's just teleported out onto his dragon. Also, I appreciate how Luke isn't a dummy, and he pulls the whole. You have a giant ass dragon. I'm gonna use my maneuverability and go in these. I'm gonna pull the whole Empire Strikes Back and fly closer to the asteroids type thing.
Now this is pod racing.
Now this. Thankfully, he is not as annoying as Anakin, but definite Star Wars vibes I got from that for whatever reason.
Yeah. I feel that, dude.
But yeah, the whole sequence was incredible. Super well shot, CGI amazing as it has been.
Poor fucking Luke, man.
Dude, he got it. He got it bad.
Just poor little boy, man. Poor baby.
What was the name of his dragon? Serax?
No, Eric's.
Eric's. That's what it was. Yeah. R.I.P. to Eric's. Little Fisher Price ass. Oh man, I feel dude just had no shot. Like he tried to breathe hot fire on Vagar as like that meme. Somebody in the Discord said, props, shout out to that. As like, and I took that personally. It's Vagar's head on the Jordan thing. Like, and I took that personally.
And I took that personally.
Yeah, Vagar took that big time personally. Very funny stuff.
I had so like right after that, and like we get the whole Aemon being like, no, Vagar, no, like, you know, obey me or whatever he's saying. And like, in my opinion, it is like, so in my opinion, it's very obvious that like he wanted to fuck with Luke.
Yeah.
But also he understands that their position right now is for peace. To like their position right now, the offer is on the table for Rhaenyra to accept the peace terms, and they're just getting their allies like they're crossing the T's and dotting the I's. They're making sure they have everything in check, but the intention is not to start the war. So I think that's why he's like freaking out. I saw a lot of people kind of like freaking out about it on Twitter.
You think he's thinking that that far ahead?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, he's not an idiot, dude. I think that is what the show has shown us, is that he's way more
I don't think he's
savvy.
Stupid, no. And yeah, I think he realized that that was the first strike. Like he launched the first missile, like that he just started a war, and I feel like that's, you know, whether it was inevitable or not, like, that's still a big deal.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So what I really do want to talk about here for a second is, well, two things, actually. So immediately after the scene, I was like, I was thinking about how in, like, episode 1 or 2, Viserys is telling Rhaenyra, I'm probably going to butcher the quote, but he says something to the extent of like, the idea that we control the dragons is an illusion. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
Like the dragons are the real power, and
right.
The idea that we actually control them is fake. It's fake news. And I was like, dude, I just think that there's a handful of things that are kind of going full circle in this episode, like for the season, and I think that was one of them. Just Vagar getting out of control and not being able to reel it in, and I liked that. Yeah,
I feel like now that the season is over, I'm sure I will go back and binge watch all of these sometime here soon, and I feel like I definitely. There are things that I've forgotten that I will have a new appreciation for, and things that will, like, you know, come back around and make more sense, having like the full picture instead of, you know, having it broken up over 10 weeks.
Right.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to like little things like that, like you said, where in hindsight it's like, oh, that's cool that they, you know, that they set this up ahead of time type of situation.
Right.
So.
Right, for sure. Last scene here is in the map room. Damon breaking the news to Rhaenyra. And I have to ask, like, how does he know this? Like, who saw this fight? Who told him? How does he know?
I mean, they got word somehow. Like, this is what
this
you
fight
have a problem
happened
with?
like over the fucking ocean. Like, who the fuck saw this?
I mean, listen, when little Luke,
you think the Baratheons were like,
probably,
hey, he fucking went after him, dude. Like, you may want to
I
make sure
mean,
your kid gets home safe.
Could be. Look, there's no way. I don't think they were keeping this a secret. Like, oh, little Luke and his dragon didn't come home from the Baratheons last night. Has anyone seen him? Like, I don't think that's like a big deal. Like, the news was gonna come out somehow.
Yeah, I am just curious as to how.
It could be the Baratheons. Yeah, for sure.
But anyway, he breaks the news to Rhaenyra, and we get a shot of them, you know, with the fireplace behind them. She turns around, she looks pissed off, and that's the end of the season, man. That's it. This thing is.
That's all she wrote.
This thing is kicking off strong. I feel like. So, I would like to obviously discuss our initial reactions on the season as a whole. But I would also like to, whenever, I mean, no pressure, whenever we get around to rewatching this stuff, I would like to see how it holds up as well.
Sure.
So let's start off with the episode. What are you rating this episode?
I think the finale left me really hype and excited, but there was a lot of stuff, a lot of fluff, a lot of like, I don't quite get it stuff, motivations and things like that in the early parts. Overall, I'll give it a 7.
Okay. I think I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
I'm going to give it an 8. I think that despite the wishy-washy stuff in the beginning and the stuff I disliked about Damon, I loved all the stuff with Rhaenys.
Yeah,
I thought this was, what's her name? Darcy. Emma Darcy.
Emma Darcy.
I think this was maybe one of her best performing episodes.
I think easily her best performing episode.
There was a lot, I think, that kind of overshadowed some of the stuff that made me feel a little about.
Sure.
Nowhere near as fantastic as the last 2 episodes, but it was still very good in my opinion.
Yeah.
And
solid.
It was hype.
I think it's solid. And the ending was very hype. And listen, I feel like the most important thing is it left me very excited and very interested to see what is to come for season 2. Like, you can't ask for much more from the season finale than that. Like, does it leave you wanting more? Does it leave you excited and intrigued and, you know, want a theory craft and stuff like that? Like, if it can accomplish those things, like, it's done its job for the most part.
Yeah, I agree. Who won the episode?
That's tough. Part of me wants to give it to Rhaenyra.
That's where my head's at.
Because I think she had a very solid episode. We talked about her performance-wise and, you know, asserting herself as queen. I feel like she did a pretty good job trying to keep the peace. But she did also lose her son at the end.
Yeah.
So that's kind of a downer. The other place my mind goes is Rhaenys, because I think she's just a total badass throughout the episode.
She
I think
is.
every call that she makes, every kind of just like a subtle shade almost, where she's like not bowing. She kind of like she's in watch and wait and see mode, you know, for a lot of the episode, where she's like kind of weighing her options and seeing what's doing, and has the whole like, it's not my place to start this war line. I think I lean her, honestly. I think I lean Rhaenys.
Okay. I think I'm gonna disagree with you.
Okay.
I think that Rhaenys is probably my favorite character in the episode. But I do think that by a pretty wide margin, this was Rhaenyra's episode.
Pretty wide margin, interesting.
It's Luke.
It's Luke, obvious.
No. I don't. Let me rephrase that. I don't think that it's a wide margin as far as like who necessarily deserves it or who had a better episode, but like I just think that like this was a monumental episode for Rhaenyra. Like this was her episode.
I would agree with that. And for her character, I feel like we got more interesting development for her character in this episode than probably most of the rest of the season combined.
Since the time jump.
Since episode 2, maybe, probably. I'll shake to Rhaenyra because I think it's pretty close. For me in my head, I do like Rhaenys more for sure.
Definitely.
But I think I despite like losing her son is obviously a big negative. Like I think she was probably she was the centerpiece of this episode.
She controlled the episode.
Yes.
Sure. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So yeah, good on her. Great.
I mean, it's named after her. It's called the Black Queen.
Emma D'Arcy. Great performance from her.
For sure.
I will never stop singing Eve Best's song. Rhaenys is fantastic. Like
yeah,
sure. But I do just think that this was Rhaenyra's episode. Season as a whole.
Very good. Just
unbelievable.
Just very, very good. Like far exceeded all expectations I had. You know, we talked about it a lot early on.
Blew them out of the water.
I was not really hyped or excited for this show. I was questioning there for a time. You know, you and I had conversations about it where I was like, I don't even really want to do the podcast for this show. I'm worried it's gonna be shit.
Right.
Like I had very little faith. And it has been such an enjoyable ride week to week to watch it, to talk about it, to discuss it, you know, in the Discord. The return of, you know, the World of Ice and Fire memes has just, you know, made my week a lot of times.
Yes.
They're always so good, so much fun. You know, I had problems here and there, not perfect, but, you know, very few things in this life are. It was just a fun time, and I like I said, considering how low my expectations were, I just very high praise, and I can't wait for more. Like I said,
yeah. I'm in the same boat, man. I feel the exact same way, man. It's sans the part where you weren't excited for it, because I was very.
You were more than I was, yeah.
Very much looking forward to getting back into the World of Ice and Fire. I had some pretty high expectations for it, and it still just exceeded them.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this very early on. We knew that this was going to look beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's HBO. They're putting a lot of money in it.
Yep.
But I was still floored almost every episode.
That was the thing that even early on or before the series premiered, where I was like, I'm sure the production's value will be crazy good and it'll look really pretty. I'm just worried about like the performances and the writing. And it turns out they knocked all three out of the park.
Yes.
The writing was fantastic for the most part. Paddy Considine and Viserys came out of nowhere to become like a top 5 of Ice and Fire character of all time for me. I if I had one reservation going into season 2, it's knowing that he won't be, around, obviously. Right. But the writing has been phenomenal. The performances have been shockingly good, and it looked even better than I already had high expectations for. Like that was the one thing I did have high expectations for, and it still, looked better than I thought.
Also, it was brought to my attention through a spoiler-free channel and territory,
mm-hmm.
that it wasn't until like last episode or some things in last episode that we are finally now touching things that happen in the actual book.
Oh, interesting.
So huge credit to the writing, because it
was almost a lot of prequel book
almost
type
to
stuff,
like actually set up the I guess investment in the characters, because obviously in Fire and Blood it seems like almost it's written as like a history
Sure.
type of format,
And it probably
seems like
focuses mainly on like the war
the
and
key
the succession.
points, right? Yeah. It is how I understand it. Again, listeners,
That's
viewers, you all know that we haven't read Fire and Blood, but yeah, most of this season, Scott, was the crafting of what's his name, Miguel
Sapochnik.
I think Sapochnik.
Yeah. That's really interesting, and if that is the case, like, hats off to whoever made that call, because that
seriously
is getting the buy-in for characters is I talk about this endlessly, probably, is like, if I don't have emotional buy-in or like interest in a character, like, I'm out. Like, that is my absolute number one thing with a bullet, without question, is the thing I look for is, are there interesting and likable characters in this X, whether it be a game, a book, a movie, a show. Is like, if I don't have interest or like characters, like, I'm what am I wasting my time for? Like, I don't care how good your overall story is. If I don't care about the characters, like, it's pointless.
right.
So if that is the case, and they were like, we need to craft almost this pseudo prequel to get you bought into these characters, like, that is a phenomenal call. Decision.
That's how I have understood it. Like, certain things that have happened were like mentioned apparently in the book, like timestamp type things, you know what I mean? But
vague and in passing almost.
Correct. Yeah. So
that's cool.
The complete opposite to what we get from season 7 and 8 of Game of Thrones, right?
We're not there yet. We're not there yet. We can't know. We're just watching it still.
Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for joining us on the
Wait. Oh. I have one more thing. Who won the season?
Oh, who won the season? Oh, come on, dude.
I mean, I even have to ask. It's absolutely Patty and Viserys.
Yeah. If there's anybody out there who doesn't think that, join the Discord and argue with us about it.
I did truly appreciate, like, I felt like early on, you and I were some of the few that were really ringing that bell hard for Patty and Viserys. But towards the end, and especially like in his final episode, and like all the stuff, like, his love for the character and like all that stuff kind of coming out, like, I feel like the Patty and Viserys, like, rallying, kind of like, people rallied around that. There was a turn where, like, all of a sudden a lot of people, like, even people in the Discord, were like, hey, listen, early on I had my doubts about him, but he proved what a baller he was in the end. So I think without question, my man's, not that the rest of the show and the performances weren't great, but even still, my boy hard carried portions of the season for me, and RIP, I will miss him for sure.
Yeah. So, pour one out for our guy.
Definitely. Sorry,
all right,
I had to ask you that.
You fuckers, you wannabes. We thank you guys so much for joining us for the first season and hanging out and following along with us of House of the Dragon. If you are not already aware, we are currently making our way through a rewatch of Game of Thrones and doing a more in-depth dive through that. So go check out those videos. You guys will see links posted here on the video in just a moment. Follow us on the Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and all the good stuff at We Don't Want a Pod. And also join the Discord. We got memes, we got funny stuff, we got talking shit, we're discussing the episodes, discussing Game of Thrones, talking about Harry Potter, whatever the hell we want to talk about in there. It's a good time. Come hang out and be a part of that. We will see you guys. Well, hopefully we'll see you guys during Game of Thrones. But if you're only here for House of the Dragon, we'll see you guys sometime.
Oh, too long, probably.
Too long. Bye-bye.